completion. Table completion was also there in listening module, if you remember, but today we are looking at reading module. Okay, this is a little bit different than listening. Of course, you have to listen for information there. Here you have to read information, but the structure stays the same, that you have a table like, and you have to fill the blanks in the table. So we have this table and we are given some information as the heading of the column and as the heading of the row, and information is blank probably or provided. So something like this will be there in exam, and you have to find answer for these blanks. See that this is the structure of the table, and this is similar to the listening one, and same goes with reading. Yes, good. Now an example will help you to understand it even better. Let me open the example and show you. Here we have question here, which is in the form of table, and then we have passage on the left. Okay, your task is to find the answer for number 10, 11 and 12, which I have marked red for your conveniency. And remember, you have to read also the instructions. We'll discuss that later, just for like a hint, right? Read for information from the article mentioned on the left, dung beetles, and try to find the answer on the right. Okay, good. You will not get more than 3 minutes because this is a blank, and for blank generally we don't get much time. So let's begin. All right, we are back then. Let's try to find answer for number 10, 11 and 12, right? You must have written some words, and now I'm going to provide you the answer. The answer is early spring, 2 to 5, You can write in words as well. And subtropical. Okay, how did we get the answer? Wait, I mean, when I'm explaining the pointers, it will be clear. But for now, if your answers are correct, wonderful. If not, no worries, we're going to look into pointers as well. Now, pointers are the hints. And the first one is word count. Now, what is this word count? See, we have read this or we have understood it. It's important when it is blank type question where we have a blank, you have to know how many words you have to provide as answer. So to know the word count, well, read the instructions. They are all connected. Every time it's the same thing. Now look here. They have mentioned choose no more than 3 words. What does it mean? If I choose 1 word as answer, it will go. 0 word is not given, right? So I won't choose it as answer. 2 words as answer, it's correct. 3 words, still correct. But 4, no, not allowed. No more than 3. Clear? Hence, it's important because let's say the answer shows as 4 and you have to eliminate the obvious part of the answer and keep it as 3 or 2. Okay? Good. Second one is understand the table. What is the meaning of understand the table? You have to understand using titles and headings. Now, if you look here, we have a heading of the passage. Every time we will have some heading, which is dung beetle. Dung beetle is type of a beetle. So they're going to talk all about beetle. If I was not giving you title here, you'll be confused. What am I talking about? Right? What are these pieces I'm talking about? Without the title, it's difficult for you to understand what it is about. And understanding is the key. When you're trying to find any answer, understanding the passage is the key. And you have to start understanding using the heading. It takes like 2 seconds to read the heading and it provides a lot of information. Cool? Good. Second information or third, as for say, let's say our pointer is rows and columns provide you a lot more information than you think. It's a plenty of information. Now, when we have here, we have these words or phrases as columns. I think you know what columns are, the vertical ones always, and the rows are the horizontal one. So here we have Spanish and South American ball roller as your rows, and your species are preferred climate, start of active period, and number of generations per year are your columns. This will give you information about the cell. So when I intersect preferred climate and Spanish, my answer is provided here. And same goes for the number 10, start of active period and Spanish. So when do these Spanish pieces start their active period? It will be here. When do they start in the case of South American baller? Here. So columns provide you information about what the answer is towards. Okay, read the columns and rows very carefully. Without columns and rows, this is not even a table. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little bit and help you with that, what I mean by that. So look here, preferred climate. What is it? Temperate. Now this is an example which can be which can help you, which can be a hint for you for the next answer. Right? Same way, if they have mentioned for Spanish, I can find for South African ball roller as well. This must be a temperature, or I mean this must be a weather, isn't it? Same goes for the next one. Now in exam you will get at least 6 or 7 questions. I've reduced this because I wanted you to do in the screen itself so that no material is required. Okay, you understand my point about rows and columns, right, with this example? Well, if you understand, good. Otherwise you can write a mail or you can write in comments. Okay, now we have to predict. Now we have seen this earlier as well in rows and columns. We get information from rows and column what could be an answer, right? And also other cells help. Like other cells, what they do is they try to help you by giving a hint towards the answer. In this case we have temperate. Temperate is providing you a hint that 12th one must be a weather or a climate. Right, what kind of climate is required for South African ball roller? Like we have preferred climate for Spanish, the species, right? Plus it must be a climate. Going for second one, that is second column, start of active period. Now when I say active period, not just the way it provided information in temperate in previous case, here it must be some kind of time. Number of generation per year, that means it must be a number here. You're getting my time here, right? I mean what I'm trying to say here. Here it must be time, here it must be a number. So this is called predicting an answer and looking for that particular answer. Now you won't be focusing on every word. You'll be focusing on climate, time, and number. Nothing else. It becomes so easy, trust me, when you just try to predict an answer, search for it. Yeah? Okay. Sequence is always maintained. What is the meaning of that? The answers appear in the same sequence as the question. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. So we have here early spring. Let me explain where did we find the answer. It was a little bit tricky one. Species, Spanish was being there mentioned with French. In the cooler environments of the state of Virginia, I'm reading from here by the way, the large French species, which is mentioned, is matched with smaller temperate climate Spanish species. So this word comes in picture and they have mentioned temperate. That means we are on the right track. The former means this is a way of writing former and latter. In the earlier sentence, we have information former equal to first and latter equal to second one. So this is our former and this is our latter. That means first one and second one. So the former means French species are slow to recover from the winter cold and produce only 1 or 2 generations of offspring from late spring until autumn. They mention the time. That means we have to look for this information for latter, because we have been asked start of active period for Spanish. The latter, which multiply rapidly in early spring, produce 2 to 5 generations annually. Now if you look here, there are 2 answers given so quickly you can miss them. The latter, which is Spanish, which multiply rapidly in early spring. Active period, multiply rapidly. Clear? The synonym they have changed. I mean, they have changed some words to distract you. When do they multiply? When do they have active period? Early spring. And there we have answer. Second one, produce 2 to 5 generations. Now you can write like this. You can write like 2 to 5. Answer is still correct because we have 3 words. No more than 3 words. That means 3 words are allowed. Right. And if we continue, we can also find answer for the next one. You got my point, what I mean by that. So first answer came here, early spring. Second one here. And if you keep looking, the next one here. See, sequence is maintained. If you find first information, Spanish temperate preferred climate is here. That means we have found the beginning. If we found the beginning, it's easy to continue. Now we don't have to look anywhere back from here to here. This is useless information for us because we have no answer over there. Right, we are going to save a lot of time by understanding where the answer starts from and where it ends. Okay, and time is money in reading, trust me. If you have time left, so think of an example. I give you 120 minutes instead of 60 minutes to find 40 answers in reading. All of you will get 40 or 39 at least, right? So time is money. What if your 60 minutes, can we convert it to 120 minutes because we finish our question paper or the whole thing in 35 minutes? So it's similar technique, right? You have plenty of time to recheck, to solve the answer which you have doubts on. So it gets easier for you to score well. Last but not the least is the grammar and spelling. Now in our case, in our example, grammar is not that a big deal because we have just one word answer. But in case of little bit longer blanks, grammar will be taken care. But if see, answers are incorrect according to the spelling, you won't get score or you're going to get mark for that. If instead of early you write spelling like this, early, this is incorrect. You have to write the correct spelling. Okay, incorrect spelling is considered incorrect answer. Though they understand you found the right answer, but with incorrect spelling, nah. Grammar will help you to find if this is the right answer. If you place it in the blank and see if it is making sense. Good? Okay, you understand that part. I think we have discussed it plenty of the time in all the question types, so it's easy to understand. And that's the end of your chapter. This is kind of a question where it looks like an image actually, but it's not. And by the way, we are still in reading module, and let's see what happens, right? What is this flowchart? Flowchart actually is a series of boxes or steps linked by arrows. Now, how does it look? When you draw it or you visualize it, so these are the boxes, right? These are linked by arrows. This is how flowchart looks like steps, but in the form of graphics. But why do we do that? The reason for us to do it is to show a sequence of events. So let's say there's an event that happened number 1, number 2, and number 3. In order to signify this event, we'll try to form one box and write about it. Next event in next box. Or if you have 2 events concurrently happening, you can draw 2 boxes by drawing 2 separate arrows or forking them. This is also possible. So all these kinds are called flowcharts. All right. Now let me show you an example so that everything gets clear to you and there are no more doubts. And if there are, you can ask them. So this is kind of a question that you get in exam. Here we have only taken 3 questions and we have a tiny passage here on the left. In fact, the passages are huge in exam as well as the flowcharts. At least there are 6 questions. But for our practice or to understand the question type, we have taken only 3. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now I want you to finish this type because it is only 3 questions. It contains only 3 questions. You have just like 2 minutes or 3 minutes maximum. Let's call it 2 minutes. Okay. Try to find answers as possible, as quick as possible. All right. Good luck. Let the time start now. Great. And we are back. I hope you find all the answers correctly. Let's see the solution. Solution will be here itself. For the first one, it's glucose. Second one, free radicals. And third one, preservation, not preservatives. Now you're thinking, how did we get those answers? We'll discuss them. Don't worry. If you got all correct, great, wonderful. You understand this question type. If you didn't, no problem. We'll solve it. Now, before we even proceed to next part, which is pointers, let me show you how we discussed flowchart should be and how they are. Now you see, this is a step where we have mentioned. Here we have first question, step 2. Here we have no questions though, but this is step 3. These are two different steps, or let's say set of information, but they are concurrent. There are no steps involved. So that's why they asked together. But you see, information is provided in form of image or graphics. That's what flowchart is actually. It's nothing more than a blank, but in a form of graphic. You got the point, right? This is what flowchart is. Now let's start with the pointer number 1, word count. Yeah, what happens in word count is same as blanks, as I said previously. This kind of question is blank kind of question, and hence you have to understand in the instructions how many words are required in each blank. See, if you look at here in this question type, let me just show you the answer here. Okay, this is exactly what we needed. So no more than 2 words. If in case I find an answer, like these are the answers, right? We have 2 words. No more than 2 words means you cannot go beyond 2. It could be 1 or 2 words. All of our answers are correct because of this reason as well, because we have 2 words, 1 word, 1 word. Another reason to be correct, right? Now, what if I, instead of write free radicals, I write the free radicals? Incorrect. I know your answer, it is correct logically speaking, the free radicals, but according to the rules, it's incorrect. You got my point? I suggest you read the instructions which we have seen previously in this slide. You see that they have mentioned here every flowchart starts with instructions. In there they'll mention how many words are required in the answer, and then they will mention which are the question numbers, and then they'll show you the real question or real flowchart with the blanks. Okay, cool. Let's move ahead. So the next one is headings. What is the meaning of headings and why do we need to understand what headings are? Actually, headings can also be called titles, right? They are required to provide information, or they do provide information about the flowchart. So the heading or the title of the flowchart gives information about the flowchart. And with information comes answer. Let me show you here. What do I mean by headings? You see here how a caloric restriction mimetic works. What do you think this is? If you look at it, first comes instructions, then comes question numbers, and then comes the whole flowchart along with the heading or the title. This is the heading or the title. Using this title, you can guess where the answer lies, or at least where the answer starts from. Yes? Okay, good. Now, if you look here, how a caloric restriction mimetic works, you see here they have mentioned caloric restriction mimetics. That means our answer starts from here itself. I mean the whole flowchart starts from there itself, the first sentence itself. You cannot risk it that you don't read from here. Then you go to the next one here, which is the first box of the flowchart. You got my point? And how itself is providing information that they have discussing a process. Yes? Cool. The next one is prediction, or the predictions that you have to provide to guess the answer. See how predictions can be amazing. If you look at this part, let me get rid of the passage first and the instructions, and we zoom in here so that you can see clearly. Okay. This is the heading or title we discussed just now. This is a flowchart or a box in a flowchart, or a step. Now the second one is where we need to find an answer. Here it says less blank is produced, right? What less is produced? So produce itself and something less are the words that are helping you to predict here. Something is produced, but less in quantity. That means it must be a thing that is produced, or an enzyme or something like that, right? It cannot be a verb that is less produced. It cannot be a verb for sure. It has to be a noun. So this is called prediction. Same goes here. Cell less damaged by disease because fewer blank are emitted. Again a noun, but something which is less emitted. That means there's emission of something less. Right, same way you have to guess the answers, or at least predict the answers when you're reading the sentence and going to the passage. Okay, good. Now look here. For the first answer we have glucose. As I told you, first one is a noun. Second one also we discussed noun. We didn't discuss the third one. Look here. Cell focus on blank because food is in short supply. Also a noun. I mean, see, you might be thinking, what is this word? Actually, it is a noun. Or it could be a form of a noun. I mean, type of a noun, but it is a noun. That is preservation. Now look, if you could have guessed it without even, going to the passage, you could have guessed something less is produced, right? That's how you go to the passage, and it gets easier for you to, whatever word fits in there, you can put it there. Okay, nice. Now next comes sequence, very important and helps you a lot, again, like same as prediction. Now what is the sequence? Sequence, when you look at the question and look at the passage, the sequence of the question always matches or is always maintained as compared to the passage. What I mean by maintained is, so they have mentioned about CR mimetic here. If you look carefully here, less is produced, something which is produced less in quantity. Definitely my answer won't be before this, it has to be after that. So the answer is here, glucose. Limiting food intake, caloric restriction minimizes, see, reduces, that means less is produced. You see that where answer is glucose, we found the answer over here. Now even though there are no blanks here, you see that, still this will be definitely provided in the passage after the first one. You can see the proof here, and decreases the ATP generation. You see that? We saw first here glucose, the answer. Second is over here in the second bracket or the second item. Then eventually number second, because we have to follow the question number, not the sequence itself. Here we have first here, second here. Second one gonna come here, and then third here. So second one must be provided after that. That's my point. Right, second one must be definitely after this. It cannot go before that or in any random order. That's called sequence is being maintained. Right, so answer was free radical, which is provided over here. One possibility is, as I said here, theory 1 relates to the ATP making machinery's emission of free radicals, which are thought to contribute to aging and to such age-related disease as cancer by damaging cells. See, exactly what they have mentioned here. Cells less damaged by disease because fewer blank are emitted. Now, the last answer must be here as well. Below that, see, how did we understand where we can find the answer? We found the first one over here. Definitely our answer is below this. So we found the answer here. That means after 4 to 5 sentences. When we found the first answer, our next block of information must be after the glucose, which is here. That is after certain words. We look at the next one, definitely below this. So you got all the answers in the sequence, and it is always maintained in this kind of question. Please remember that. So once you find one answer, let's say for an example, why am I saying this is important? Let's say I couldn't find the first answer, but I found the second answer. I found the second answer over here, like this area. Should I look for the third answer here on the above it, this information? Of course not. I'll go for below this information, not above this. It is logical that if we know the sequence is maintained, we won't be going before the information or above the information. We'll be going next to the information to look for the answer. That's how sequence is helpful. All right, good. Now the next one is called short phrases. Now, this is not a tip actually, this is something that you should be cautious about. If you look at the sentences, actually these are not even sentences completely, these are phrases. This is not a full sentence. Less is produced, something less is produced. So it's a very short phrase. You cannot expect a full answer, a full sentence in flowchart. Hence, your idea should be, in order to create a sequence by yourself or create a story by yourself, CRM mimetic, in which something less is produced, where production of something is decreased, that is ATP. Now, the reason for ATP to be decreased has two theories, theory 1 and theory 2. This is what we understood from the flowchart. See, finding the answer could be easy if we understand. So I think we have discussed earlier in the same video that headings or titles will help you to understand. Same way that you have to create a story using short phrases will also increase the understanding of the flowchart. Once you understand the flowchart, it's tremendously easy because you know where the first answer is by predicting and also guessing the next answer will be definitely in the sequence. Now you see how these pointers are helping you. First, you understand the passage using the title, plus you have to understand the answer all in sequence. So I have to find this one first. You look in the passage, you found it. You look for this one, you found it, and you match it according to your prediction. It works wonderful. Keep on going next, and that's how you find answer for all flowcharts. It's relatively easy kind of question in reading, in my opinion, compared to many others, but still that can happen. You know, you might get stuck later. That can happen. Don't worry about that. Okay. The last one, but very important. The reason is people don't pay attention to this. Spellings. Why it is important? Let me show you here. They have to be correct. That's the importance. I know this is a very short information about it, but with an example, it will get clear. If you look at this, the first one, the answer is glucose, right? Instead of glucose, if I write here the spelling of glucose as Glucuse, it's incorrect. We know that you know the answer. I know that you know the answer, but examiner won't accept this answer as a correct answer because you have a spelling mistake. Instead of free radicals, if you make a mistake in spelling of radicals, incorrect. See, the good part is all the words mentioned in the passage are to be taken exactly. That means if in passage you find free radicals, you don't need to create synonym of free or radical to write the answer over here. All you have to do is put exactly where you found the answer. You don't have to change the words. So spelling mistakes are rare, but because you might think, oh, it's okay, I found the answer, I can quickly write. No, take care of the spellings as well. I don't want you to work hard in your reading. You worked hard for the whole 1 month and you go for the exam and you didn't take care of the spellings. Because of that, you got less score. You might not even know what was the reason, right? So at least eliminate the obvious ones. Then we can proceed with the next one. This kind of question do come up in reading as well as listening. But today it's a reading module that we are discussing, and hence multiple choice question in reading module. What is this multiple choice and how different they are, or how what kind of structure do they follow in reading is what we're going to see here. Multiple choice question has one question, or let's say statement, with some options. By some, I mean we don't have a set number here. We can't say, okay, these many options might come up. You might have more than 4, or let's say 5 or 7, and also the answers might increase. Let's see the types first to understand this question type, right? So there are 2 types, okay? But before these 2 types, let me show you what happens. So this is the question, and there's an option here. Let's say 4 options here. So this could be a question or could be a statement. So for example, what was the main reason for them to go to the house? That is a question. But if I want to write a statement, I will eliminate the question and I'll say the boy wanted to go there as. Now this as means I am not finishing the sentence. So please finish the sentence using any of these options. Got it? So sometimes it might be a question or it might be a statement. You have to read it and you have to understand it. Anyway, we'll see examples. So type 1 is when we have 4 options and 1 answer. This is the first type. This is how it looks. This is the first question or statement. In this case, we have a statement. In paragraph 1, the writer suggests that companies could consider this thing. Now here we have 4 options, as I said, 1 statement. This is type 1. Okay. Next one is when we have 4 plus options and 1 plus answer. That means at least 2 answers or more, at least 5 options or more. So it could be 7 options as we can see in this example, and we need 2 answers. Right. Here for this example we have a question. Which 2 advantages are maintained by the writer of the text? Now you have to look for the 2 advantages. Okay, I hope I'm clear about this. What are these options? What are these types? And the tips or the pointers for these kind of questions are similar. There's no much difference. It's just we have more answers to provide. And yes, because you are answering 2 questions at the same time, you'll get 2 points if you get both of them correct. Now, what if I get 1 correct in this case? Then yes, you get 1 point. Right. What if the sequence I write is different? Still it is correct. So for an example, answer is C and E, and I write in exam E and C, then it is still fine. So let's say 21st question is, and 22nd question is also this one, then I can write as C, E or C, or C or E depending on what you find first. So no need to worry about the sequence of the answer if they're asking for 2 or 3 options. And yes, if you mess up with the first answer, let's say instead of E you write B, and next answer you write correctly, you get the score. You get the mark for that one particular answer. Correctly, there's no negative marking in this kind of question. I hope you understand the scoring in MCQs, that is multiple choice questions or multiple choice statements, where we have more than 2 answers and many options, of course, like 5, 7. In this case, we have 7. Now let's see some true examples along with passage. Right. The first type, we'll see the first example. This is the first type, which we said question or statement and 4 options. And on the left, we have passage. Right. I'll give you not more than 1.5 minutes or maximum 2 minutes to solve this kind of question. And your time starts now. All right, we are back and let's see the solution for this. The solution is the first one, that is A. Now, how did we find this answer? We'll see in later part, but this was the type 1. Now for the type 2, I've also set a question, which do you remember the type 2 now? Type 2 is we have to find more than one answer, that is 1 plus answer, and we have 4 plus options, could be 5 options, 7 options, any number. Okay, in this case we have taken the same question which we have taken earlier. We have a question here and we have to find 2 advantages, right? And we have to find answer for this question by finding 2 of these 7 options. We have 7, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So your time starts again, and this time you'll also get 2 minutes. All right, good luck. Great, we are back. Let's see the answers themselves. Solution for this one is B. They can predict areas that may cause trouble in future. And G. They are more skilled in personal relationships. We can discuss the answers later. If you have any doubt and if you didn't find these questions and these options, let's say, as answers, don't worry. We're gonna discuss pointers or tips. And after listening to the tips, these will be easy to find. These options will be easy to find, and this will be a piece of cake for you. Okay, don't worry about that. If you found, wonderful, that's great already. Now, pointers, as we already discussed, these are the tips. The first one sounds very clear. Question first. Always read the question first. Then move to the passage. Your task is to read the question first. I have seen plenty of people going for the passage first. When you read the passage, it's huge. It takes almost like 1 to 1.5 minutes. And 1 to 1.5 minutes is like time wasted actually. And then you move to the question and then you say, oh, I needed this much information. That's it. I read the whole passage, which is huge, of 200 words maybe. I needed to just read like 50 words. Based on the question. So please read the question first and then move to the passage. Okay, now if you look here, we shouldn't go here first, we should go here first. That is the question 1. In paragraph 1, the writer suggests that the company could consider these, right? Now your question, once you read this, then move to the passage. Because the question says clearly, all you have to do is suggest what the companies could consider, based on the writer in paragraph 1. That means we don't have to read this much. It's gone, right? This is not required in this question. You have to read the first one. So let's try to find the answer here. The general assumption is that older workers are paid more in spite of rather than because of their productivity. That means older people are paid less, right? Are paid more, right? That might partly explain why when employers are under pressure to cut costs, they persuade a 55-year-old to take early retirement. What did you understand from this? That old people, though they are not that productive, they are costing much to the company. And when it comes to the employer, they try to kick the old people out, honestly, even before their retirement time. Take away seniority-based pay scales, and older workers may become a much more attractive employment proposition. That means if you take out the seniority, that means that is their senior. That's why we have to do something for them as an ethical issue. Otherwise, kicking them out of the company is a good option, right? But most employers and many workers are uncomfortable with the idea of reducing someone's pay in later life. Although manual workers on piece rates often earn less as they get older. Right, that means manual workers are earning less when they get older, right? So retaining the service of older workers may mean employing them in different ways. Now look here, they're trying to say that here earlier, that if we look at the old people, they are not that productive, and employers could consider that if they remove the seniority, that is their seniors, we can't do anything. Removing them could be a good option, or removing the system of paying according to the old age could be a good option. But most employers are not comfortable about that idea of reducing someone's pay, right? So they have to find some other way. But you look at this whole passage, what is it talking about? They're talking about if they can remove the system of people being paid according to their age. And hence the answer A is correct. Abolishing pay schemes that are based on age. Others can be eliminated. We'll see later when we are eliminating. Yeah. So you understand, read the question. Automatically this we don't have to read because we understood only paragraph 1 is required. Okay. Next one is options. So first we already saw questions. Then we move to the passage. What about the options? We didn't look anything about options. Options, please never read them first. Never read the options first. Look here. Let me just remove other things and look at the question very carefully. We have a question here, right? And we have options here. You see which one looks lengthy, the question or the options? Of course, the options. Question is tiny, or the statement is tiny. Options are 4. If you attach all of them one after another, this is like almost 2 to 3 sentences. So why to, anyway, you're not going to remember this, right? Anyway, you're not going to remember all the options. So why to read them first? In fact, read the question. Based on the question, go to the passage. When you come back to the question to answer the question, you can look into the passage now, the options now. It's easy in this time to understand what they mean by this. Rather than you go to the question, read the options, this is like wasting another 30 to 40 seconds, which we don't have in reading. You remember, we have 40 questions in reading and we have 60 minutes in reading. In this time, we have to also transfer the answers to the answer sheet. Now, if we take, let's say 5 minutes to transfer to the answer sheet, we are left with 55 minutes. Let's eliminate 2 minutes of somewhere resting in between because you're concentrating a lot. 53 minutes. 53 minutes and 40 questions. It's not more than 1.5 minutes. Or let's say 1 minute per question. And if you're wasting in reading options 30 seconds or 20 seconds, it's scary now to find the answer. You don't have much time. That's why some people who are not taking precautions like this, they are ending up having 7 questions left in the end. So I suggest never read the options first. Okay, I told you the reason, I showed you the consequences. Good. Next one, as I said, first we understood the options. Now we can eliminate when we come back. The obvious options can be eliminated. Eliminated means removed from our answer, obvious answers or the possible answers. Look here, we have a question here and we have options here. Avoiding, we already know A is the answer, but look how other options can be removed. We already discussed what is the passage about. Avoiding pay that is based on piece rates. We are not talking about avoiding pay based on piece rates. Piece rates came, the word piece rate came just here to talk about something else. We are not here working on avoiding that one. Eliminated. Increasing pay for older workers. No, we never worked on increasing pay. In fact, it was decreasing, right? Sometime. Equipping older workers with new skills. We are not equipping them. We are not providing them new skills. We are looking at them in a different way. That means we are employing them. We are looking at them in a different way because we don't want the seniority to work. We just want performance-based work. We are trying to remove that part of pay based on age. You see how elimination can help you find the real answer. Yes? Good. Now, last one is paraphrasing. See, you should expect a lot of paraphrasing in options. What is the meaning of paraphrasing? You won't find exactly the same words in your passage. So once you read the whole passage and you connect with the options, chances are you might not find the exact wordings. Of course, you have to understand that. What are they talking about? And that's where your information concising power comes in. Same goes for question. Of course, they're not going to provide you exact words of the question in the passage. You have to paraphrase it or understand it the concise way. You got my thing. I mean, you get what I mean by concising or paraphrasing is that don't expect them to provide exact information in the passage. Okay, good. And I think that's the end of the chapter. Summary completion. Type of a completion, like we have table completion, flowchart completion. This time we have summary and it is still reading module. Yeah. Now, what is the summary completion? Actually, summary completion is nothing but that summary of a section of a passage. So we have a huge passage. Passage and paragraphs are two different things. So passage equal to many paragraphs combined. Now, one section could be one paragraph or two paragraphs, right? So that's here we call it one paragraph, and summary of this is provided in the form of blanks. So let's say I provide here blanks and keep on going, have one blank here, and then this is summary, hence it will be shorter than the whole paragraph. Let's say 3 sentences. A paragraph of 10 sentences is described. Okay, so this is called summary of a section of the paragraph. Now, in this, one thing should be clear. Single paragraph of the passage is taken care in the case of summary. You know, when we have, as I said, passage is many paragraphs. In this kind of question, only one paragraph is taken. Actually, this information is important because it's going to help you not to read many paragraphs. You just have to find which one they're talking about. Eventually, you will find the information or you will not go beyond that. Okay, this is actually easy kind of question once you find which paragraph you have to read. But without knowing if it is just single paragraph, you will not be doing this. So remember, summary completion equal to one single or just a single paragraph has to be taken care. Right. Now look, we have a list of paragraphs, paragraph 1, paragraph 2. This is 1, this is 2 here. And this whole is called passage. Now we have a summary which says the importance of language. Where do you think you'll find the answers? Well, we're going to see later, but this is how the question looks like in summary completion. There will be here instruction. We'll see them later as well. Now here, this part, from this part will either respond to the part 1 or part 2 of the passage. Could be paragraph 1 or paragraph 2. Your task is to first figure out which paragraph and then find answer for these blanks. You see here 1, 2, 3, and 4 when the question is here. This is your task, not all a complete task you have to do in passage or passage completion. I mean to say summary completion. where you have to look into the passage, find the paragraph, look back, and find the answers. How we'll see later. Before that comes types. There are two types here, okay? And the two types are when we have summary completion without a list of words and summary completion with list of words or phrases. Now, what is this without list, with list? I know this is getting confusing. Showing an example will get it clear. Let's look at the first one. Summary completion without list of words or phrases. You see here, we don't have any box which is providing us as options, option A, B, C, or D. You have to choose out of these options and provide answers here. Of course, you have to read here the passage. There is no such box with words or passages. Hence, this is called question type summary completion without a passage. Without a box which has phrases or words. No such thing. This type, the second type with list of words or phrases will look like this. We have questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to fill the answers as options. We have options here, isn't it? Out of these options, after you read the passage, understand the question, you write out of these options. Actually, this is helpful, right? So this is what happened sometime in the summary completion. Previous one was without any boxes. It is possible. Now let's see an example of just one type with boxes. I think it's the same thing. Now the first thing you have to notice here is, see, we have mentioned here on the top question 1 to 4 you have to finish, and there's the heading of the summary, and you have to find answer out of these options. Paragraph or passage is here. Choose any of these paragraphs where they're talking about it. We're going to see the answers later. You shouldn't take more than 3 minutes because this is easy kind of question, and your time starts now. we are back. Let's see what are the answers for these questions. The first one is E. You can verify in your notebook, that is material. Second one is G, which is fundamental. Third one is B, which is complex. And fourth one is F, which is easy. So if you got these answers, wonderful, great. If not, no worries, we'll see how to solve this kind of question. Maybe that will help you to find the answers easily. So let me just show you the answers in a bigger view so that you are not missing the answers. First one is E, second one is G, third one is B, and fourth one is S. Clear about this? I hope. Good. Now let's look at the pointers, the tips or the tricks which will help you to find the answers easily. Okay, the first one is instructions are important. In our case, we have options. Hence, you might see what kind of answers you should provide. Should it be option A, B, C, or should it be word count? Now, see, look here. We have mentioned complete the summary using the list of words A to G. Now, let's say this is the first question, second one, third one, and fourth one. If I provide answer let's call as material. Material is the first answer. I cannot provide this as answer. I have to read the instruction to see, are they asking for options or they're asking as words? They are asking for options, so we should only write here E. You understand what I mean by instructions? You should know what is expected in the answer from the options or their words. Clear? Summary, the instructions which are mentioned here before the question starts here is important. These are called instructions and you should read them to know what to write. Okay, good. Second one is single paragraph is important, not 2 or 3. Right, now look, they will contain all the answers for sure. We will see how they contain all the answers. Look here, we have starting and ending here. If we connect the first sentence, the wheel is one invention that has had a major impact on something. Now, I'm not asking you to find the answer first. I'm asking you to find where the answer is taken from. Is it paragraph 1 or paragraph 2? Now, if you look here, we have to look for word wheel, which is a kind of a keyword. The wheel may have transformed means may have major impact on our materialistic existence, on some aspect of life, which is definitely material aspect. Correct. Now, based on this, you guessed it. Okay, this is the paragraph which is, is a limelight for us, which is important. Hence, we won't be going to any other paragraph. We will be fixing our eye on this paragraph only. That is paragraph 1. You won't find even the last answer in the last paragraph, only paragraph 1. Okay, good. So this is one thing you should always see, that first read the first sentence or first line of your question. Go back to the paragraphs or the passage, the single passage, and read which paragraph is mentioning or giving information about it, and choose it as your core answer. Now you can match with the blanks and find the answer. Okay, good. Moreover, you should always predict the answers. Look here, we have expanded, we have removed the option. If you look here, the wheel is one invention that has had a major impact on this aspect of life. Can it be admire aspect? I don't think so. Complex aspect? Maybe, but doesn't sound like that. An easy aspect? It's not an aspect actually, right? It could be a difficult aspect, or maybe not, because it's not an aspect which we can expect here. We can expect an original aspect, material, or fundamental kind of. So, see, predicting will help you to look for the answer, not just from options, something which is a major impact and an aspect of life. Right, so you will look for the answer which is about the major impact and the aspect of life connected to wheel. Second one, but no impact has been as blank as that of language. That means when you see as blank as that of a language, that means there is a comparison being done. So something is being compared. See, for comparison, we have the words then, as blank as something, or more than that, or equally. Here they are saying no impact has been done as that of language. That means language has more, so you look for more word. Hence, understanding the sentence and expecting something could be the best way to find the answer in blank kind of options, blank kind of question. And this is actually a blank kind of question, though the whole paragraph is explained in short in one summary. But still, if you look carefully, these are just blanks, right? Sentence 1, blank 1. Sentence 2, blank 2. Got my point? And here you should predict based on the blanks. Now, paraphrasing is important. It means you have to expect paraphrasing, not just paraphrasing, in fact, next level of paraphrasing. This whole paragraph is being shortened and provided in the form of blanks over here. That means the quantity or the quality of being concising the information must be high. I mean, it's very difficult then to understand the whole passage, but the meaning won't be changed. They might change the words, they might change this, they might change the aspect in a way, little bit of the collection of words, but trust me, they won't change the meaning. So what won't change is meaning. They won't change the sequence. No chance, no change in sequence. The only thing they can change is, words here and there, but still first answer will appear first, which we see here. Second answer will appear second, which might be somewhere later. It will come after that. So paraphrasing will also help in that part. Okay, if you are not a big book reader, anything, you don't read books much, this will be a little bit difficult, because understanding and paraphrasing or concising is a thing, or is a skill that you have to develop to understand this kind of question and most of the questions in reading. So please try to read as much as possible to concise, or you paraphrase the thing. That means you make it short or make it differently. Okay, suggested is you read books. Sentence completion, which is the last question type that we have to understand in reading module. You must be saying, oh, that's a long journey, right? In reading module, I understand there are around 8 to 9 types of questions, and we have to understand them all, because we can't take a risk, that what if this question type comes up in exam. We have to understand all of them. Now, in this question type, what's gonna happen, which is sentence completion, by the way, you will be looking at a single sentence with a blank. Before this, we have seen table completion, form completion, that is a flowchart completion, or we have seen a summary completion. None of them had single sentence and non-related single sentences with a blank. See, here we have a question number 39 and 40. The dance outside the hive points in the direction of the blank. So this is one question itself, or one blank itself. It is not connected to the next blank. And as I said, single sentence, no connection, is this type, sentence completion. The difference between this question type, that is sentence completion, and the summary completion is, in the summary completion, we have a whole summary where we have blanks in between, like this. However, in this question type, all we have is a blank in the middle or the end of the single sentence. I hope you understand the difference. Good. In fact, an example will help to make things easier. Look at this passage on the left and the question on the right. Your task is to find the answer for question number 34 or 39 and 40 using the passage on the left. In exam, you might not just find 2 to 3 questions. You'll be having at least 5 to 7 questions or blanks in this question type. This is just for us to know how this question type works. And secondly, just for practice, we only have 2. Because we only have 2 blanks, I'll not give you more than 2 minutes. And your time starts now. Great. And we are back. Now let's see the answers as well, because you've written in your notebook or anywhere in your notepad. The first one is food source. Source is in bracket. That means if you mention food, it's fine as well. Or if you mention food source, it's fine. Okay. Number 40th is sun. These are the two answers, 39 and 40. Okay. We'll see how we found the solution, how we found the answer. But first, let's talk about the pointers or the tips and the tricks which can help you to find the answer easily. Eventually, we'll talk about the answers. The first one is definitely the instructions. We have been repeating it 10 times or maybe more than that. The reason is, without these, the instructions, you might not understand that we have number of words which are required. If in case I found the answer and I wrote incorrect number of words, I'm totally incorrect in this part. I mean, in the answer, though I know where I found the answer, though I know it's correct, but examiner can't do anything in that case because you mentioned an incorrect answer. Now, if you look at this one, the dance outside the hive points in the direction of the answer is here, food source. The outside dance was fairly easy to decode. The straight position of the dance pointed directly to the food source. We have mentioned, or let's say the instructions are mentioned no more than 2 words, and here you mention, because they have mentioned the again, of the food source. See, this one is incorrect for a reason, because it's not 3 words anymore. It's not 2 words, it's 3 words. So, totally incorrect. What if we just write food? It's correct because they have mentioned no more than 2 words. They have not mentioned exactly 2 words, right? If you write 1 word or 2 words, totally fine with it. Okay, good. The second one is the verb method. We have explained this. We need verb method to remember the blanks or to remember the statement which contains the blank. Why do we need this? I think we have explained earlier that when we have a reading question type or reading exam, the biggest time waster actually is moving from one page to another page. So this is one page to another page. What we generally do is we have a question on another page and the passage on another page. Like we see here, these are the questions right below 34, 39 and 40, and here we have passage. Now we have provided this information, or you have taken this information on a screen. There's a split in the screen, hence you can look at it directly. But in exam, what's going to happen is the questions will be on page, let's say 3, and the passage is on page 2. What can you do in this case? You're going to read the question and jump to the passage immediately and try to find the answer. You might remember some part of the blank and try to connect with the answer, but you're not sure yet because you don't remember the statement. You go back to the question and try to find the blank again, or try to understand the blank, and again go back to the passage. Again read that part. You read things twice or thrice uselessly. What if you could remember the blank and just understand it clearly by the method called verb method, and go once in the passage and find the answer and come back? Sounds fun, right? You save 30 to 40 seconds per question. If 30 to 40 seconds are saved, you can imagine what's going to happen in the case of almost 40 questions. How much time will you save? A lot. And that's why I've seen people following this method have finished their exam in 35 minutes, even in 40 minutes rather than 60 minutes. Okay, so let's see what this method does and how do we solve it. So eliminating the things which are not required here and even the instructions, let's zoom in here. The dance outside the hive points in the direction of the blank. Verb method says that you have to figure out in the sentence what is the verb. For our sentence, that is 39th points is the verb. True? You have to create a sentence by yourself what points towards what, right? By understanding or creating these questions, you will be able to remember by answering these questions to yourself. You have to just remember the word points. So the dance outside the hive points in the direction of something. What points towards what? You have to remember just this much. You go back to the passage, you look for something points towards something. That means the dance outside the hive points towards the direction of something. Looking at the next one, the angle of the dance from the vertical shows the angle of the floor of the foot from the blank. You see, shows is the verb here, which we have to take care. What shows what, or in what angle? So the angle of the dance from the vertical is one subject in a kind of structure. This is a whole subject, and we have the verb, and then we have the object. Subject shows the object. The angle of the dance from the vertical shows the angle of the foot from the blank. See how easy it gets. I know there's so much to read from this part, but if you understand that we are creating groups now. One group is the subject, that is before the verb. Second group is the object, that is after the verb. And you just create question. What shows what? Done. And you remember the whole sentence or the statement. You don't have to come back to the blank and compare with the passage. Hectic process, time wasting. In fact, remember the blank using verb method. Go back to the passage just once, find the answer, mention it here, done. So easy, right? And you save a lot of time. Cool. Now, another one which is important is predict. Not just making it short or remembering the sentence, but prediction is also required. What is the meaning of prediction? I'll show you. Let's look at the example 39. The dance outside the hive in the direction of the blank. Now, this is a direction of something. That means it has to be a noun. It has to be a thing that you are pointing in the direction of. That means that the dance outside the hive, that means something is going on outside the hive of the bees, is pointing in the direction of the something. Not somewhere, but something. That means you get the answer. Now you predicted the answer, it has to be something. Again, second one, the angle of the dance from the vertical shows the angle of the foot from the blank. So you have to search for the angle of the foot from something. Again, it is a noun. Sometimes answer is definitely a verb. Sometimes answer is definitely an adjective. By the way, if you're not familiar of these are called parts of speech, then you should go and watch the first video of the series of grammar, which is grammar for IELTS. You will get to understand what are these things I'm talking about. Very important stuff, and things will get easier for you, not just in IELTS, but in English as well. For IELTS, for sure, they are created keeping IELTS in mind. But even if you want to know or learn English, good point to start by using the parts of speech. Okay, good. Now the first and last, what is the meaning of this first and last? First blank and the last blank are important. In this case, in the case when we have provided example, we don't have more than 2. But what if we had 25 to 30? Now we have 6. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. What if we found the first answer and the last answer? Why do we need to do that? If you find the first answer over here, let's say, I'm just guessing, okay, I'm just creating a situation. This is where you found the 25th answer, and this is where you found the 20 or 30th answer. That means all of your answers lie between this, that is 25 and 30. Sequence is always maintained. So if you found the 30th answer here, the 29th cannot be beyond it. It's not possible. If you found a 25th answer here in this area, your 26th answer cannot be here above it. It must be below it. So if there are many blanks, find the first and the last one. That means you know which area to follow. Clear? Because sequence is maintained. So this method could help you save time. All right, good. Last one, but not the least, because this is a tiny mistake people make, that is grammar and spelling. Grammar, because you can see grammatically it has to be correct. Let me give you a guess, or let me give you another point. The dance outside the hive points in the direction of the easy. If I provide the word easy here, I thought easy is the correct answer, then it doesn't make any sense grammatically. It's incorrect. What direction of easy? What? Easy something. So easy is incorrect. And because of this, I could guess that, I think I have to search again. So your answer should be grammatically correct. Second, even if I find the answer as food source, and instead of food source, though food is only correct answer, you can also add source. If I write source spelling as this, just this, no E, incorrect. Spelling mistake is also a concern for us. It will be considered 0 point. So in this case, answer is sun, S-U-N, and you write S-O-N. They know, the examiner who's checking your paper, they know that, you're right. You know answer is sun, but you made a mistake in the spelling. Sorry, we cannot provide you the answer. So you lose 1 mark. That is for one question. This is gone then. Please verify your spellings, and grammar helps us. That is, the grammatically, if the sentence is correct, is good. If not, it helps us that this cannot be the answer. We have to go back and look for the answer in the passage again. Clear? I hope so. And with that, we end the chapter. We can understand the structure and criteria for writing module. Watch out, this video is really important if you're understanding, or if you are trying to understand writing module for the first time. This will provide you kind of an introduction plus criteria which most people miss to understand, or try not to even understand, or they don't even know if they exist. Alright, so this video gonna provide you everything you need. The first thing is the structure. By structure, I mean what kind of question will be asked,